Hello, everybody from the Chaulk team. I hope you are having a wonderful kickoff to your summer and what is now the reopening of Alberta after what has been an interesting time both in the Calgary real estate market and in our lives in general over the last couple of years. Let's start with where the market is at right now. We have definitely seen extremely strong sales. Both May and June broke a sales record, which is very interesting because historically, those are typically our busiest times in the market. And we haven't seen that occur since probably about 2014 was the last time we saw a market where we were getting into multiple offers on a regular basis and really seeing product fly off the shelf. Now, what is happening right now is we're headed into July, which is crazy. How are we in July already? And we've seen demand slow down a little bit because our inventory has come up a little bit. And this is always very typical of Calgary. When we see lower inventory, we always see a busy selling market. And we haven't really had that busy selling market again since 2014. So most communities are definitely sitting at a seller's market with lower inventory hovering around the 2 months of supply. Now, this isn't the case for every piece of property. For instance, our semi-detached or our duplex properties have seen a massive increase. It's been something that's trended very, very well and continues to do so. And we do not have as much inventory of those types of homes in and around Calgary. Our townhouses were selling really, really well, a little bit faster than what we were seeing in 2019 and even before COVID in 2020. A little more days on the market was required, sometimes a price reduction, but now we're seeing inventory rise in those areas, both in that row homes and townhouses and condominiums, because condos have also been suffering in our recession. So although we had our strongest sales ever in condos in the last 6 years, in February, that it really encouraged a lot of condo owners who have been wanting to sell their properties to put their properties on the market. And so that has again filled our supply back up and eased demand somewhat. So our condos and our townhouses are seeing still sales, but a longer time on market, and also a really more competitive market where you need to be accurately priced. And if someone is coming on lower than you, you need to adjust quickly. That being said, even in our detached sector in June, we've definitely been able to negotiate a few deals for our buyers, which is a little bit different compared to May, where we were mostly stuck in multiple offers all of the time. And that would range from maybe 2 people in a multiple offer, and we had experience where we had 8 people as well in multiple offers. That being said, in June, we did see a few of our listings come on the market and sell very quickly. So it's a very market dependent on each community, where the supply level is at, how well the property is showing online still, and how accurately priced the property is. Because it can be tempting in a market where we hear, oh, it's a hot market, to want to increase your price drastically. And that's just something we haven't seen. We have seen a competitive nature where people are going over the list price and really aggressively trying for that property. When there's multiple offers and they're in a competitive situation, that's when the comparables seem to fly out the window and you just offer what you feel comfortable with at the best price and terms that you can. So let's look at our country market. Our country market has really been booming. We've seen excellent sales out in the country, given that people have reevaluated their lives and there's been a lot more forgiveness for not needing to go into the office. So that's changed the way we live. I'd say we are anticipating that this eventually might swing back the other way, where the really urban lifestyle becomes more attractive again once offices are open and more traditional businesses move back to having their clients come into the office and their employees be working out of the office. Now, I know a few of my clients have already gone back to their offices or have scheduled office dates of when they're returning, whether it's July 15th or October. So those are going to kind of change our playing field a little bit as well. COVID has really given us a real estate bubble, and that bubble has been global. And it was interesting, I was reading an article today that even in the UK, the demand for homes is just not there like it used to be. It's easing, and they're a little bit ahead of us in terms of opening up and lifting their restrictions. So it's interesting to watch countries that are further ahead of us and maybe peg off what Calgary might do. The great thing is we're very affordable, and we have a wide-ranging different types of properties for every buyer's needs. And I think Calgary has kind of been put back on the stage, and people are really looking at, like, should they move their businesses here as we continue to kind of re-engineer what Calgary is going to be all about and move into other sectors, not just our oil and gas sector. So that leaves us to, okay, where are we going from here? Well, as you know, we've definitely reopened, which is interesting and exciting and a little nerve-wracking at the same time. I think that as we continue to see freedoms come back for people to be traveling and moving about, going back to the office, that might ease our COVID demand somewhat. I think summer will maybe follow a historical trend where it's going to slow down a little bit. But I would predict that potentially in September, we're going to see a little bit of our normal bump that we see in the fall. And that's very typical of Calgary. We follow like a spring market whenever the snow is gone, which this year it left early. It slows down around Stampede, which apparently is happening. And we see August historically be quite quiet because everyone's gone on vacation. And now we have the option to do so fairly safely. So that usually leaves September, October, really seeing an increase in inventory and sales. And then the banks sometimes will come out with their fall specials, along with also coming out with a pretty decent interest rate closer to Christmas. Interest rates are doing quite well. They are sitting around that 2%. I've had a few clients who've been able to get in around 1.89 still, which is excellent. It's just something we haven't seen for this long, and that will continue to hold so far. But we did have one major change. Prior to COVID in January, the federal government had said they were going to roll back and eventually maybe repeal the fact that you had a qualifying benchmark rate. And they did reduce the rate so that when you're qualifying, all of your criteria for getting your pre-approval and setting your purchase price was based on the benchmark rate. And that was sitting about a 4.7 rate. And now, come June 30th, originally they were saying anyone putting 20% down or more was going to have to qualify at the higher rate, which has now gone to, I believe, 5.25. And then just right at the end of that little press conference, they slipped in that everyone is going to be qualifying now at that benchmark rate. And I think they were trying to slow down Toronto and Vancouver's markets. However, I mean, you need deep pockets to get into that market, and that's typically not going to slow down those people, but does slow down more of our move up or our first-time home buyers. So that's an update on where mortgage rates are at and what qualifying changes have happened with the federal government. We are looking forward to a little bit of reopening. Our office is hosting a food truck event in the parking lot July 24th. We'd invite you all to come down. It's in support of the Women's Shelter Foundation, which Roy LePage has always been a champion of, and so are we at the Chaulk team. So any purchases that you make, a portion of those is going to be donated to the Women's Shelter, which is amazing. So that's going to be at our Midnapore location. And we will have a note just under our newsletter here, or if you would like a little invitation, we'll be blasting that out on social media as well. Overall, we are very grateful for all the clients that we've been able to serve. It's proving to be another busy, successful year, and we really couldn't do it without all of you. We are here if you have any real estate questions, or if you're trying to figure out what your next moves are within the next 3 months, 6 months, a year. We are here to help. So thank you guys so much. We look forward to hopefully connecting with you more in person as the year continues on and we see more relief from COVID. Have a great day.